Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, January 5th. So we have the moon in Pisces energy here today, kicking off the day, giving us a little bit of dreaminess, creativity, empathy, compassion, and a little bit of magic. Of course, that moon in Pisces is trying to wrap up an emotional cycle. We're trying to put it behind us, if you will, trying to reframe it, if you will, renewing, refreshing our hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future. And of course, we are going to see this dreamy-like, mystical-like energy shift into something a little bit more action-oriented when the moon in Pisces goes void, of course, at 9:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We lock into the Aries energy at 2:02 p.m. again Eastern Standard Time. So again, the transition from the moon in Pisces into the moon in Aries is always felt. We are moving out of this overly sensitive, highly intuitive, hyper, let's call it emotional state in this Pisces energy, where we're kind of, picking up on the subtle energies. We're tapping into emotions from the collective, from the environment around us. We're trying to, again, make sense of a lot of the intuitive insights that have already been downloaded within us. And then we're kind of using that to release and remove a lot of the funk, a lot of the junk that, again, is attached to the old emotional cycle. When we move into Aries energy, it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's a fire sign compared to the water sign of Pisces, and that Aries energy is about action. It's about taking the initiation, the beginning steps, if you will, on a new emotional pursuit. Now, granted, we are in a particular time in the calendar right now where, technically speaking, Mars, who rules over that Aries energy, he's on the bench. He's in a retrograde. We have this action-oriented, this initiating energy pushing us in our inner realm to be bold, brave, and courageous, to boss up to new ideas, to a new plan, to a new strategy that eventually, when we're gifted the green light go ahead to take action upon, we're going to be like a well-oiled machine, knowing exactly what needs to be done and exactly how to do it. So we're always feeling the transition. There's always a pep in our step. There's always this restlessness. There's always this little tiny impulsivity that kind of creeps up in us. And so we do have to find healthy channels for this bouncing around restless kind of energy so that it doesn't manifest in not such a nice way. However, there are other aspects really popping off here today that I think is definitely going to push us into new foreign territory and again, kind of lift our spirits up in a brand new way. Now, today is the last day that Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, drive, passion, desire, even our anger, the ruler over that Aries energy that the moon will be shifting in, we have Mars in the last hours of being retrograde in the Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. Tomorrow, January 6th, we're going to see Mars retrograde back into the Cancer energy, back to, let's say, a little bit of a flashback to late October, early November, when we were kind of navigating this particular area of the chart. And again, if you want to do some work here, there is an astro forecast, there is an energy guide. And because this is one of the major astrology aspects that I talked about in the 2025 year ahead overview, this is also where we did a lot of work in our individual charts in that 2025 year ahead workshop that you can find over on my Patreon. So there's a lot of movement definitely shifting us into a new heart space, into a new emotional realm where now we're building towards having the courage and bravery to put some of these older aspects behind us and to start kind of building, cultivating this fire, spark, and flame within us in order to identify new targets, new goals, and what needs to be done. There are 10 different aspects taking place here today. 9 of those aspects are going to involve the moon. So the moon, while still in this Pisces energy, is going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction, with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. He is trying to show us where it is that, again, in our physical realm, there are routines, people, places, and things that we are overly attached to, that we have already outgrown, that we are some reason not letting go of, not releasing, not letting be in the past where it essentially belongs. Now, we because we are creatures of habit, we hold on to things longer than we should. And Uranus is trying to illuminate for us where it is that eventually, side note, the end of January, when he finally shifts direct, where we are going to be bossing up and making those changes that we've been resisting for technically 4.5, 5 months. We love Pisces energy and Taurus energy working together because the Pisces energy is very mystical, very dreamy, very creative, very imaginative, very fantasy-like. Whatever it is that we can conjure up in our inner realm, we're able to bring it to life through the Taurus energy that rules over our materialistic realm. So this is the beautiful interaction because it means that we're receiving some sort of download, some sort of epiphany, some sort of insight that is going to help further, again, bring our emotional cycle, Moon in Pisces, to an end, to a close, specifically where it is that we have been holding on to dead weight. And so this is going to be an aha moment that once you know, you can't unknow, and is going to kind of shift us in a better mood and a better attitude to boss up and do what needs to be done. The sun in Capricorn energy is going to make a positive interaction with Neptune, who of course is in his rulership in Pisces energy. So we actually like Capricorn and Pisces energy working together because similarly to the Taurus energy, that earth energy rules over the physical realm. So the sun is shining very brightly in this Capricorn energy, which is all about our materialistic realm, the goals that we have, the targets that we want to meet, and the changes that we need to make in the structure and the foundation and in the routines of our day-to-day lives in order to actually align us with the desired outcome that, of course, we're trying to manifest. We have Neptune in his rulership in Pisces energy ruling over our spirituality, over our intuition, over our dreams, over our creativity, really helping us to, again, get very detailed in our inner realm what this desired outcome actually looks like, actually feels like, so that the Capricorn energy can attempt to materialize it. Basically, we have a beautiful interaction with these two, really softening the edges, putting us in a, I'm going to say, disciplined focus on how to bring our dreams to life. And it's kind of renewing our soul and our spirit at the same time. We are definitely a lot more lighthearted. We are able to give ourselves, other people, the plan that we're currently trying to piece together, the benefit of the doubt. We are really just trying to, again, align with our higher selves and understand that there is this spiritual pull, this spiritual calling, if you will, to really start manifesting a physical realm that is much more in alignment, in resonance, and mirroring back the peace, the harmony, the happiness, the joy that we're creating in our inner realm. So this is definitely a good vibe. However, just as we're gaining insight, just as we're renewing our hope, our wishes, our faith, just as we're adopting a new mood and a new attitude, of course, that dark force energy has to trigger and activate our ego programming to make us question. We have the moon in Pisces getting into the boxing ring, squaring off, creating tension and conflict through the growing pains, if you will, with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, who is in Sagittarius energy. Now, this is our heart space, the moon, and our headspace, Mercury, not getting along. They're not on the same page. Now, you would think that the mystical dreaminess, creativity, hopes and wishes and dreams of Pisces energy would definitely be tapping in a positive way with that Sag energy. However, the Sag energy wants to be positive and hopeful and dreamy and wishful and all the things that the moon in Pisces energy would also lend us. However, a square brings out the worst part of both of these signs, meaning the moon in Pisces, we're not hopeful and wishful and dreamy. We're actually moving into feeling overwhelmed, so overwhelmed with what needs to be done in order to bring those dreams and goals and visions to life that we're now in a state of paralysis with the roles and responsibilities that are weighing very heavily on our shoulders. And we're kind of getting lost in the details. We're getting so overwhelmed that we just want to curl up into a ball. We don't really want to take place or take part in reality. We just want to kind of wake up when all of the initiating is done and over with. Now, Mercury, on the other hand, in Sag energy, we're unfocused, we're scatterbrained. It's hard to manifest when you don't have a strong focus on the desired outcome. And right now we got ADHD squirrel brain. We're all over the place. It's hard to focus. It's hard to concentrate. And even more than that, we're not optimistic. We're not positive. We're not confident. We're actually picking ourselves apart, beating ourselves up and breaking ourselves down in a way that does not feel like we can even achieve the goals goal, the vision, the dream at this particular juncture. Let me also just say that because Mercury rules over communication, although the moon in Pisces is very heartfelt, very compassionate, very empathetic, very forgiving, the Sag energy, it just speaks the truth, but speaks it in such a harsh, rigid, blunt, in-your-face kind of way that we could actually hurt our own damn feelings. So it's not bad enough that we could hurt other people's feelings. We could actually just verbal vomit, create such a mess for ourselves that we're actually shooting our own damn selves in the foot, so to speak. Now, there's a lot of head pressure with this particular interaction. We talked about all of the ascension symptoms that are likely going to be manifesting in the physical form due to some of these energy shifts here this week. If you haven't listened to the Ascension forecast for this week, I'm going to recommend you do so. It's going to make a whole hell of a lot more sense why you are going to be feeling the way that you are feeling moving throughout the energy of the week. Now, we have the moon in Pisces energy coming up to, bumping into, teaming up with, conjuncting Neptune. Neptune is in his rulership in this Pisces energy, ruling over the Pisces energy that the moon is in. Very late in the degrees here, which is a strong indicator that the moon is about to go void, of course. And of course, the conjunction is an ending and a beginning. What we are putting behind us is that victimhood mentality, is the worry, is the fear, is the doubts, is the insecurities. Putting behind us where it is that we're feeling so overwhelmed that we don't even want to take part in creating the realm and reality that we know that we deserve. The beginning part here is that now we're renewing our hope and faith. We're kind of renewing our soul and our spirit. We're building ourselves up, if you will, and we're starting to get a clearer visual on what the goal, the vision, the dream actually is and what we actually need to be focused on in order to manifest. So it is at this particular juncture, 9:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that the moon is going to go void, of course. That means that things get shaky, things get unstable, things get uncertain in our emotional realm. While the moon is void, though, we have the moon in Pisces making a beautiful interaction with the sun in Capricorn energy. And we've already established that the Pisces and Capricorn energy work very well together. Anytime that the sun and the moon are coming together, there's going to be an aha moment, an epiphany, if you will, a new realization of what we actually want, what we actually need, what we actually desire, and what we need to do to get it. So this is going to be a beautiful energy to get focused, to really concentrate on what that vision, goal, and dream is, what the desired outcome actually is, to actually believe that if we can kind of believe in it, that we can achieve it. And again, we are logical and practical, grounded and anchored into that earth energy of Capricorn, meaning as long as we have a clear visual, we can go ahead and start planning and strategizing how it is that we're going to bring this goal, vision, and dream to life. Now, we sit in that void until 2:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is when the moon shifts into Aries energy, and that's when we're going to feel a pep in our step. That's when there's going to be a restlessness, ants in our pants, so to speak. We sit in that energy. Approximately 20 minutes later, we have the first aspect, the moon in Aries energy, going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction with Mars, who rules over this Aries energy, who again is currently retrograde in Leo energy. So this is fire on fire action. This is what gives us our trine. And this is a beautiful time for us to kind of see where the fire energy is going to help lighten the emotional load by burning through the heavier thoughts, the heavier emotions, releasing and removing that. Then reigniting the fire, the spark, the flame in our heart space, in the boldness and the bravery and the courage that we need in order to initiate and pursue a new chapter. Again, all of this is inner realm stuff at this particular juncture. And help us get focused. What is motivating us? What is inspiring us? What is it that our heart space wants us to pursue? What is it that our higher self is calling to us that we need to explore? So this is going to help us be highly motivated, super hella focused on what it is that we're passionate about, what it is that we're being called to do and pursue, and put into perspective, again, the excitement, the motivation, the determination that we have to be building within us in order to actually see this particular chapter through. The moon in Aries is going to come up to, bump into, team up with the North Node in Aries. And if you listen to the 2025 year ahead reading or took part in the workshop or listen to the Ascension forecast for this week, you would know that the North Node's days in Aries energy are numbered. On the 11th, we're going to be shifting into that Pisces and Virgo axis for the next 18 months of tough love life lessons. And so it is very mystical at this particular juncture that, of course, we have a lot of these, let's call it finalities, these endings, these closures with all of the different planets trying to interact with the North Node in Aries one last final time before we put this particular karmic chapter behind us. So a conjunction is just as much of an ending as it is a beginning. We love the fact that we're putting a lot of the junk, a lot of the gunk behind us, especially where it is that for the last 18 months, we've been working on becoming our most individualized selves, our most powerful selves, our most authentic selves. This is definitely going to be a lot of energy for us to be sitting in, likely triggering a lot of the ascension symptoms that, again, listen to the forecast so that you don't feel cray-cray when they start kind of popping off and things start happening. But basically, this is our opportunity to kind of get geared up, to get in alignment, to get focused on what we actually have power and control over in the present moment, in the here and now, what it is that we could take action or initiate upon to either close the door, release, remove a lot of aspects out of our lives, or if given the right kind of opportunity to further advance the smaller details in our present day that are going to eventually line up with the desired outcome in which we are currently wanting to manifest. And so this is going to remind us of who it is that we are, what it is that we want, why it is that it's so important that we go after it, what it is that we are being kind of spiritually backed in order to do and pursue in life. And this is just a great reminder that the last 18 months, although it has probably been very tough on a lot of people, it's coming full circle. And we are going to really be in a perfect position here in a couple of weeks to take all of the actions, make all of the moves, knowing that we're operating from our higher self space and in alignment with our most authentic selves. The moon in Aries then going to make a positive interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings, who's currently retrograde. So again, another internalized energy, this time in Gemini energy. This is why we're divided. This is why we're having a difficult time arriving at a decision, at a choice point, on the path, on the direction in which we want to take to move on and move forward. Jupiter's whole retrograde in this Gemini energy is supposed to be reflecting back to old tough love life lessons, to old education, to old skills and talents, to old conversations, to old perspectives, because we're reframing our mental plane. We're expanding upon what it is that we've already learned, but where it is that maybe we failed to put it into action. And so the moon interacting with Jupiter in this way, we get fire and air, which is a spark, which is a combustion. So there's likely going to be a huge growing spurt taking place, not only in our inner realm of excitement, inspiration, motivation on what it is that we want to do, what we want to pursue, but coming up with creative solutions on how we are actually going to go about doing that. We're feeling optimistic. We're feeling confident about what it is that we're trying to orient towards. And at this particular point in time, there is no reason for us to believe that we can't achieve it. The moon is then going to sextile, which is a beautiful interaction, with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in Aquarius energy. So another air and fire interaction. A sextile is a growth. It is a growth of ease and grace. There isn't tension and conflict pushing us into something that we're not ready for. We're 100% in alignment, making the inner realm changes needed in order to boss up. We have the courage, the boldness, the bravery coming from the moon and Aries energy. We have the power and authority coming from the Plutonian energy. This is time for us to realize where our emotions are getting intensified, again, to illuminate what we actually care about, what we actually value, what we're actually motivated about and excited to pursue. Especially we're taking action upon, again, the smaller details in our day-to-day lives in order to actually align with the greater, grander outcome, making those adjustments, making those improvements. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Aries energy, making a very positive interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who is now in this Pisces energy. So this is a beautiful interaction because, again, there's a lot of gusto. There's a lot of pep in our step. There's a lot of bold, brave, courageous thoughts and ideas, wants, needs, and desires coming online, specifically where Venus is involved with relationship dynamics and with finances. So we're kind of realizing she's in Pisces energy, so we're in love with love. Also, we're living in a dream world. We're living in Delulu land. Okay. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. It's a nice reprieve. So there is this dreaminess that we are tapping into in order to create the futuristic goal, vision, and dream that we want to see ourselves be living in, that we're actively wanting to manifest. Specifically with this interaction, it's about where it is that, emotionally speaking, we need to be bold, brave, and courageous enough to do the right thing, which happens to be the hardest thing, which is to close the door upon a lot of the karmic connections, cycles, interactions, routines, ways of going about kind of creating our own resources, our own financial stability and safety and security, where it is that we have to remove, we have to release, we have to put an ending and a closure to something in order to kind of free the space up, free the way up, if you will, to actually manifest that goal, the vision, the dream that is very dreamy, very imaginative, and definitely triggering a lot of happiness, joy, peace, and contentment in our heart space when we allow ourselves to kind of float off into La La Land or Delulu Land and actually imagine what that would look like, what that would feel like. And so this is a beautiful interaction for us to become a little bit more aware of where it is that we need to boss up, provide those endings and closures, that detachment, that disconnect, so that we can start pursuing the goal, the vision of our dreams.